Peace to your feet, we bringing the news. Facts stay sharp, yeah, we never confused. From the streets to the world, get the real, no cap. Breaking headlines, put the truth on the map.
Yo, fast with the facts, we don't play no games. Report on what's real, we ain't chasing fame. Call Peace TV, stay locked, stay tuned. If you want the real talk, we deliver it soon. Call Peace TV, we bringing the news. Facts stay sharp, yeah, we never confused.
Hey y'all, hey, back with another video. In this video, of course, we're talking about Romeca Meeks, the 31-year-old young mother that was unalived by her baby father's other baby mother. Now, in this video, we're going to just go over the interview that one of the witnesses did in her accounts of what she actually saw that happen. And from what she says happened, trust me, I believe still in my heart that this was a setup. She says that Carlos was in his own truck and the second baby mother was in her own vehicle. So why did it take for both of y'all to come up to the school in separate vehicles? And then this happens. From what's being said is that they were provoking Romeca. They were trying to get a reaction out of her so that this incident can occur. I want to know, where's the camera footage of this whole incident? It happened outside of a school in broad daylight in front of multiple people and other businesses. Where is the camera footage? Her family needs to request footage of what happened on that day, because I just can't see how they can just get away with this, because they did something horrible. And to claim it's self-defense, the witness even says that Carlos walks up to the second baby mother and fist bumps her and put it in her head that this was self-defense, right? That's what this was, self-defense. Y'all, when I say I am pissed, I'm just pissed. Because this woman was dropping her child off at school. What threat was she to y'all? Y'all came to the school that she is at with her child. Let's just jump into what the witness has to say.
I was actually the one at the scene. So I was the one that was yelling out to arrest her, because everybody wasn't doing anything. I was actually the one who called the cops first. And I saw them when they were fighting in the beginning. And I was like, this is not right. He was slamming her with a door when she was standing in her door frame, not even close to the female on the other side. So she was literally standing on the other side of the road, and her baby daddy was literally slamming the door on her back. So she went back into her car, came back out, and then this was when the baby daddy walked towards the other baby mama. After this happened, he grabbed her by the waist. She tried to wiggle away from him. Her arm was like literally almost getting free, with his arm around her neck at this time, because he was holding her by the waist in the beginning and she wiggled out, After this happened, he had her in the, like, almost looking like a headlock to me on the side. And then the other baby mama stated, "I'm going to shoot you, bitch. Watch me shoot you, bitch." And he stated, she's going to go get her gun. She's going to go get her gun. Watch. And after this happened, she ran to the passenger side of her vehicle, grabbed her gun, went around, and when the woman, the mother, who slipped away from him for at least like maybe a good second, as soon as she slipped away, she shot her. And she shot her in the face, on her side, and in her thigh. And I saw him like holding her for a split second. Maybe he was in shock, but after she was in shock, after he was in shock, I guess he picked her up, and when she was falling, like a gush of blood fell, you know, like out of her body. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing, you know? Like, I don't know, everybody else sees movies, you know what I mean, and they see put pressure on the wound. You know, why weren't you putting pressure on the wound? Why weren't you caring enough? This supposedly was your first baby mama, because when I was on the bus, I heard him and her screaming, and she was literally saying, she was like, I just dropped off my fucking baby. What? I just dropped off my fucking baby. Are you guys kidding me? As soon as I got off the 21 bus. And trust me, they got it. You know what I mean? Everything that I literally had to. I wasn't gonna let her die like that. You know, I literally looked into her eyes. That hurt me. You know, she says she dropped her baby off, and you go. You don't know who she is. You know what I mean? And I was like, arrest her. She needs to get arrested. You know what I mean? They didn't. They weren't even thinking. There was another black female cop who came up, and a Mexican shore cop, and I pointed out, I was like, the guns in her car, the guns in the car. Why wouldn't you give him the gun if supposedly this was, you know, a self defense? You know what I mean? If it was hey, here's the gun. This is what happened. It was no self defense. I swear to you, it did not look like no self defense. It looked like you shot her because you were just angry or something. You know what I mean? And to me, um, it wasn't it. The female that got shot, she wasn't with any gun. She didn't have no weapon, no knives, no nothing. So what was it that frightened you so much? You had to run around your car, go into your passenger seat or whatever the case is, and you reached in to get your gun and shoot this woman, you know? So to me, it was a senseless. They were arguing because she was pulling up, and I guess they ended up parking. Why was her car parked on the sidewalk? Because I seen she ran towards the sidewalk to get her gun, and it was a small black vehicle, and he had a black truck, I think. And literally, he came out of his truck looking like real, like he wasn't like on anything but being like mischievous, like nothing but like what was like he was planning something, you know what I mean? And I called the cops on the first time I called the cops, it was because he was attacking her, you know, and the other girl was just yelling at her, and she was arguing back. So there was nothing going on for her to be like, oh, I'm gonna step back over here to go get my gun, you know. She was nowhere near her. But that's all I gotta say. And I know for a fact that she did get arrested, but he got let go. So hopefully, you know, for what I said and what I witnessed, I just don't want to be, you know, put on the stand or anything to say. I did put a statement in because I know it's necessary. You know, it was a ridiculous, you know, I'm a mom too. I wouldn't want my baby to hear like that, you know, and I wouldn't want me to be laying in the ground. She's a sister, you know, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's somebody to everybody. She's a friend, you know, and that was bogus to just stand there and look at her like she was nothing, you know. To me, I was literally so mad. My boyfriend was also really mad. He was yelling at them. I don't know if you noticed. He was there too, and I was on the phone with him while this was happening. I would call back at him, and he was like, what's going on? I was like, please hurry. And I even had him run that way. I was like, you need to run that way to go see if he's okay. Go see if everything's okay. What's going on over there? What's going on? Is she laying in the go see if she's okay, you know? And it's just senseless that I felt like I had to go send my boyfriend over there because he was just standing over her like, you know, like I don't know. But I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for letting me. By Miss Meeks' car. Miss Meeks was standing in her door frame, and Carlos had the driver's side door, and he was slamming the door into her to where hurting herself. Yes, that's why I called the cops right away, because it looked like to me it was like a domestic violence, and she was standing by her trunk of her car, and she was arguing with Miss Meeks um about being there, I guess. And that's when I heard Miss Meeks yell out, I just dropped off my fucking kid, are you kidding me? Like, she was like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? Like it was a different, like, you know, argument. Like, it wasn't even like she was arguing with her, you know what I mean? Yeah, she did get back out of her car, but it was because the other woman was antagonizing her, and she was acting like she wanted her to come out the car. So then she came out of the car, and I don't think she expected to get shot. No one ever like expects to get shot, you know what I mean? But to me, I felt like what I seen, it was unnecessary, and to the point where it was senseless. And I don't know what came over her to even think to go get her gun. You know what I mean? Like, I thought they gave people training for that. Was yelling that over the hood, right? But when she came out of the car, she said, "What?" Like, she was like, "What, bitch? Like, you keep coming up to my car. What's up?" Because she kept coming up to her car, and like every time she would go back into her car, she was like, trying to get her out of the car. So then that's what it to me. It seemed like the only reason why she came out of the car was because the other woman, oh well, Miss Johnson was like antagonized, standing there looking. I just seen him looking like he was just looking, and to me, I didn't know what his plans were, what the plans were with between each other. To me, what I seen, what I witnessed is, that he was standing right next to her, and he didn't say anything, but they were arguing. And then once Miss Meeks walked up to Carlos, uh, Miss Johnson ran to the sidewalk, and then Carlos snatched her up by the waist, and then she was wiggling out like almost, and then when she almost wiggled out, he had her by the neck because she was like wiggling down, you know. I honestly, I just seen that when she got out of the like got out of it, like she was literally going the other way. She wasn't going towards her, you know. So it just looked like she was trying to get away, at this point. She was scared, and I seen like she was scared. Like, it was a different, like, when you see somebody's movement, and you could just tell like run to, you know what I mean? Uh, that's what I seen, and you know what I mean. There was no reason for her to go get her gun. It was unnecessary, I think, but they did. Holly's car was already parked, right? Holly came out of the parked car, and Miss Carlos was in a black truck vehicle. I think it was a Mercedes, and Miss Meeks was in the white car. So she was already like, I think she just said, and she yelled that out, that she was just dropping off her kid. Like, what's going on? To me it looked like like it looked weird. You know what I mean? Because I was telling the police that she had her baby inside her car. So I was like, that's her baby. The baby's in the car. I was like, you need to arrest her. Like, why aren't you guys arresting her? And then she was all like, oh, and by the way, I don't know if anybody caught the video or anything, but Carlos goes up to Holly and fist bumps her and says, it was what was it? It was self defense, right? It was self defense. And she's like, yeah, it was self defense. Yeah, and he goes up to her, and they were both said, they looked at each other, and it was self defense, right? He was like, yeah, it was self defense. Sure, I didn't, I just witnessed what I witnessed, and people on there, plenty of people on the sidewalk that they were shouting out to arrest her and everything. And the cops did, at least they did, did their job, and they did, what they had to do, because, you know, it wasn't for them, she wouldn't be like in handcuffs right now. You know what I mean? What's it called? She called me a snitch, and then I said, I don't care, I'm gonna sign complaints. And then what's it called? She was frustrated, and she was saying, she was like, I have a concealed and carry. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. You shot somebody. You know what I mean? And the other girl was like, yeah, the gun's in the car. And I was like, bro, I've been said the gun's in the car. It's in the passenger side. You guys you just stashed it for what? What you stashed it for? If you was like a self defense, then why the fuck did you just like, why didn't you just hand them the gun? You know what I mean? But she didn't hand them the gun. She hid the gun. You know what I mean? So to me, I was like, bro, what was this? Like, what was this right now? Cops were like, they were like, who was it? Who was it? I was like, her, arrest her, and they arrested her. She had blood all over her because, I was like, I would assume they would have arrested her. You know what I mean? Yeah, when she was walking away, she looked at me and looked at what's it called, my boyfriend, and She got like, she was like, whatever, y'all fucked up for this shit. It was self-defense. It was self-defense. I got a restraining order on her. So I was just like, it doesn't matter. Like, you shot someone, you didn't even like, you think to be like, hey, like, let me like rethink this, not why would you pull out a gun? You know what I mean? He turned away and he ran to his car. He wasn't even like paying attention to Miss Meeks or anything at all. That time my boyfriend started telling him like, don't you feel remorse? Don't you feel bogus? Like, you didn't do anything. You just stood there. Like, you didn't even say anything to him, like to like, support her, like back her up. He was like, isn't that your first love? Didn't you have a baby with her, bro? Like, she just dropped off her kid. Are you kidding me? Like, you're a coward. You're a coward. And then he looked like it wasn't him being like sad or like anything. He was like, it looked like he was mad about something because of like his ego was hurt, you know? So he like tried to run at us, like me and my guy, trying to like act like he was gonna fight us. And that's when the cop came in between us. And then one of the cops was like, leave the scene, leave the scene. And I was like, well, I need to put my statement in. And they're like, well, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put my statement in. And then Carlos walked away when he was like giving me a look, But my guy was literally standing there too, like, what the hell? But at the same time, he didn't get to see most of it. I did, so he appreciate that. And I know that he was doing it out of, the goodness of his heart, because I honestly was crying and I was like, babe, please go and help her. Like, I was like, I don't know, like, what made her do that right now. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, please go save her. Please go save her. I don't want her to die. And I like started crying because I was like, looking at her, and I like started freaking out because I just, the scene, everything, it was just like horrific. I was like so like in shock, I guess you would say. Just felt like everybody's reaction, her reaction, everything, it made it seem like nobody cared. And I was like with tears in my eyes, arrest her. I was like, I don't know what else I need to do. I will sign complaints. I don't know what else you need me to do. You need to arrest her. Like, I felt so much like rage because no one was like understanding what calmness and how cruel they could be, just standing there, him without tears in his eyes and her just standing there, like, if she's like, she had the right to take somebody's life, she had the right to snatch somebody from this earth, you know what I mean? Like, and to think to be like, let me look at her and tell her like everything's gonna be okay. He didn't even do that. You know what I mean? He literally like looked at her, stood there, and didn't do anything. Like, his face was like, when somebody dies and you love them, and even though you might have a little like, hate or whatever case is, you still have that heart in you. It should have hurt it. There should have been at least a tear in your eye. And there was not one.
We bringing the news. Facts stay sharp, yeah, we never confuse. From the streets to the world, keep it real, no cap. You're breaking headlines, put the truth on the map. Call it peace. We bringing the news. Facts stay sharp, yeah, we never confuse.